Welcome to Comic Station, issue number 40 for October 2nd, 2013. I am Paul Nisi for Fun Towards Gamer.
And I'm Scott Cates of the Comic Station.
And this is the zombie girl from Walking Dead. Welcome back to Comic Station. For our new releases this week, we're going to start off with Vertigo's Hinderkind number 1. This is another post-apocalyptic storyline. Really, it opens up, you think they're in a forest, a boy and a girl, and they're hunting, and they catch an animal, they shoot it down. There's some really nice artwork flares, and otherwise the artwork's kind of okay, but there's little hints about nice artwork. Well, of course, then it pans out and you realize this forest is actually on top of a high-rise in a city. So you get the idea that mankind hasn't been around for a period of time. And they don't say it, but it can pretty much be told it's like, it's actually, they do infer it. It's in Manhattan, so they're in Central Square, and they're in the park, and they basically set up camp in the park. The artwork, like I said, is kind of nice. It's okay. Nothing great. There's little flares I like here and there that makes it nice little tweaks, little stuff that they did. Otherwise, really, the best thing about it is the personal banter between the people. I like that there's a dialect that they talk in, so it's kind of, you get all these people together, they're going to start speaking a little differently. There's no formal education, so stuff like that. So I like the dialect and the little breakdown of speech that happens. So that establishes that the world not only is solid, but it's been there for a while. It eventually opens up to be there are mutants, animals, creatures, monsters, so forth. And overall, really, while it's nice, it's good, there's some flares that I like, it's another post-apocalyptic. I'm getting a little overdrawn with these, and nothing in the artwork really drew me in. Really the best part about it was the personal banter and the people. They do nice little things to make the world feel solid. Otherwise, I'm more inclined to wait and see what happens with this, say if they open it up a little more and where they go with it. See if they can differentiate themselves from all the other post-apocalyptics.
Well, this one is Captain America Living Legend number 1 from Marvel. This, if you are a fan of traditional Captain America, this book is for you. This takes you back to World War II. Cap is in Russia. He is racing with the Russians to find this last Nazi base that, in theory, has a Russian rocket scientist. So anyway, they all get there, and it turns out there's a bit of a gunfight. Cap saves a Russian soldier named Volkov. That's important because it jumps forward in time. You see the Russian space program. Volkov is their cosmonaut heading out into space. They never really tell you if anything happens to Volkov or not, but come forward even more years later, there is an issue at a space station, and all of a sudden the space station explodes, and the last word from the space station was Volkov. So that's where this leads off. Now, for those of you who have followed the current Captain America in the Marvel Now universe, this is, in my opinion, much better. The artwork is solid.
I love the artwork. I really wanted the pictures will come up, but the artwork is amazing.
Yeah, and compared to what we've been accustomed to for the past, in the newest Marvel Now stuff, the story in that was not Captain America to me, and the artwork was very difficult for a lot of people, not just myself. This is a solid book. I think it has a really good jumping off point to get into where they're taking the story, and you're back to Captain America being Captain America. So I would highly recommend this one.
I also like that it's on the Russian front, because obviously a lot of the movies and everything always go Captain America on the American side and everything. And this is showing that during that time we were allied with the Russians. And so it's a nice other side to it.
Absolutely.
And the snowy scenes are really beautiful.
Yeah, they do a good job.
Yes. The next one we have is also from Marvel. This is Marvel Knights Spider-Man. Sorry. I'm going with the S's and I went with man. So, Marvel Knights Spider-Man. This is a 1 of 5. And first, right off the bat, amazing artwork. The artwork itself is really great, but the style and the effects and the way they put the page together, really well done. It goes with the storyline perfectly. It opens up with Madame Web, and that's never a good thing for Spider-Man. She foretells that there are going to be 99 problems that he will have to solve or overcome, and in a gauntlet, and otherwise he's going to die. Well, it turns out that the place that he's in is a haunted funhouse, weird, just some weird house. So every room he goes into is like, one moment he's in the bottom of a well, the next moment he's in a corridor, the next moment he's in an airplane, so it's all these different things. And he runs into different enemies, robots, monsters. You're not quite sure, he's been drugged or something, and again, the artwork is perfect for it because it's just so disorienting, yet capturing the way they pull everything, and the lines pull you to the right spaces that you're supposed to be reading next. And there's even one scene where it kind of mirrors, like there's a mirror and all the words are backwards because he just can't think straight, and it's blurry. And absolutely, the artwork is probably the most standout of this. The storyline itself, again, because of the story, it is a little confusing. He's not thinking straight, so not everything on the page is thinking straight. But boils down to, he's in a mansion, 99 problems are 99 villains. He needs to work his way through the gauntlet or he dies.
Simple.
Pretty good. Straightforward. And I'm looking forward to see what else they do with that artwork. That's looking really good.
Well, next we have the all-new X-Men Special. This, to me, was something that I personally I didn't need to read this from the perspective of, I read All New X-Men, I read Superior Spider-Man. This is an off story linking both of those two together, with Otto Octavius somehow appearing. You're not sure, did he come from the future, did he come from the past, because you have the older version, or the youngest version, I should say, of the X-Men who had come from the past forward, and then of course you have Superior Spider-Man, who, as we all know by now, is Octavius. So, you know, it's a combination of the two stories as far as I'm concerned. If you like both of them, I mean, it's not a bad read. I don't particularly care for the artwork in it myself, and for me it was just something that is not a necessary read for me.
Yeah, since I haven't really read either of them, the only all-new X-Men I've been reading has been the Battle of the Atom. That's the only crossover for that thing that I've been reading. I thought it was okay. I do see that they pulled things from different stories and just kind of put them together. Don't know how well it fleshes out with everything else in the universe.
Plain story. To me, I mean, it's a side of both of them. You know, Spider-Man's doing his thing, Superior Spider-Man's doing his thing, the all-new X-Men doing this. This is a little side venture that happened.
Yep. And the last one we have is from Vertigo Comics. This is Fantomex. Generally, he's a thief of thief. He's a master criminal, and he does what he does best, is he steals from other criminals. Of course, he doesn't care about destroying or breaking in or anything like that. There's a little bit of a cat and mouse between him and Agent Fleming, which is kind of expected. As you can tell from the cover, there are a number of... This is a Marvel Max comic. It has explicit content. So while there's nothing overt, there is plenty of cleavage or references. There's even one point where the Agent Fleming is introduced, and on the little bullet of, she's an agent, she specializes in this, she's good with handguns, and she looks good in a tight outfit. Like, little things like that. Little references, and nothing, no sex scenes. There's no, some of these titles have just straight out there, but it is definitely more on the older end.
And that's not to say it couldn't happen. Max titles,
absolutely,
there's no limits to them, so be prepared. Number 2 or 3 could end up with a lot of cursing, a lot of nudity, a lot of extreme violence.
Which is why I like Max titles.
Absolutely.
Agent Fleming, it kind of really centers around her, while Fantomex is the character with the most personality and what really draws you into the comic kind of centers on Agent Fleming. There is like I said, a bit of a cat and mouse, which brings her in, makes her a little interesting. What's special about that? She's ended up on the latest escapade. Fantomex kind of makes a fool of her, and she's put as a consultant on a task force. Basically, she's kind of demoted and put in. While basically the overall like crux of this is, who is Fantomex? What is he doing? Is he really a bad guy? There's a bunch of instances later in the issue where he doesn't come off as a bad guy. What is this task force? Are they good? And kind of see some double crossing going on. Really, is there more to Fantomex and his holographic AI? Jarvis, eat your heart out, because this is a holographic AI, first of all, that likes to dress up as a dom or a nurse.
Nice.
Or a battle woman.
Outstanding.
Or in a bikini.
Can't go wrong.
So, yes. Sorry, Jarvis. Artwork is okay, which is kind of a shame, because if they're going to be going on the more salacious end with some of the drawings that they put in here, the artwork could have been better. But it's interesting, and that idea, honestly, I'll have to admit that I'm a little pulled in, because I like the Thief of Thief. I like the anti-hero. So, alright. Next we have some reviews. This week we have Leo has graciously done a number of our reviews for us this week since I was on vacation. And the first one he started off with is a series that he really enjoys. So he wanted to check out the comic book. This is Battlestar Galactica. This is issue number 4 from Dynamite Comics. And while he really loves the series and he likes that this centers around Apollo and Starbuck, he doesn't really know about the storyline, the plot. It's kind of a Days of Future Past storyline where there's time travel and going back, and the Cylons are, looks like they're in a medieval kind of setting, and overall he wasn't really impressed with it. The storytelling was hampered by the fast pacing, yet a lot of padding, which is kind of a weird combination to go along there. And if you're not really into Battlestar Galactica and you haven't watched the movies, you haven't read the comics, you haven't read a lot of the AU stuff, and you're gonna get lost. You really need a dependent on this knowledge of the series, and where they pulled their canon from was a little iffy. The next one we have is Dynamite Comics is The Walking Dead. It's a loose parody of The Walking Dead. Sorry. That is really more about the zombie culture. Basically, if you take zombies, you get Joker gas, you gas the zombies, and then you get nerds fighting back. So, while it all sounds good, who doesn't like a laughing zombie? And iZombie's done it and all those with the nerds fighting back, it just kind of loses itself a little bit. There's a really cool idea where basically the government had this section of nerds that were hired to go through all these impossible scenarios that actually end up being the basis for a lot of our zombie movies and a lot of our alien movies and all these things. They just take them and put them in the scripts because they're so out there, so impossible situations. But it actually happens, so now they're left to actually fight back against the zombie horde. And it's a cool idea, but it loses itself and it gets bungled in the attempt to parody The Walking Dead and all these other genres. Doing so, it loses itself. It's not. Lito actually says in there. It's too non-committal to a parody, too unoriginal to break the genre's mold. And what few interesting ideas it has ends up relegated to the background. So you can get the idea he didn't quite like it.
That would be my guess.
Yeah. Lito doesn't hold any punches.
No.
The last one he had, hold out a little bit more hope here because he likes The Shadow. Anyone that knows about The Shadow, personally I've seen the movie and that's about the extent of it, and I liked it. So, despite who played the main role, look it up. And, come on, it's an original hero. tried and true storyline. Basically, in the 30s, he defeated his enemy, so he went to the Orient where he got his mental powers, and to learn how to be immortal. He did, so he came back. I'd like to know that. So he comes back, and of course his enemy comes back. So now you have a superhero, kind of along the line of Green Hornet and Captain Midnight, stuck in modern day. Unfortunately, they missed a really nice point that they could have made more, is having a hero from the 30s, how they view crime today, and instead they bring that villain back, so it's back to the status quo. It would have been nice to see some of that opportunity to transpose the Shadow against modern crimes. Otherwise, it's a really good Shadow book, and it really brings back the series, and Lito really enjoyed the cliffhanger ending. So read all these reviews, especially that one, at frontdoorgamer.com.
And that's it.
That's it. As you can tell, the month is October and Halloween is coming up. So we'll be having little stories, and I'm sure we'll get more horror stories coming up in comic books.
No question.
And this is really creepy. Okay, I'm going to end it now.
See ya.